Now, Google this week finally released details of their new Stadia game streaming service. This will allow you to play high-end 4K 60 frames per second games on your low-end hardware because you're going to be streaming it over the internet to your home. And they have a pre-order up right now for a bundle that includes a Chromecast Ultra and a special Stadia controller. Now, the controller, as we talked about a few weeks ago, is going to connect directly to the internet. So there's going to be a reduced amount of input latency given that direct connection versus having to hop through your Chromecast or your phone or something else first. I thought that was a very cool idea, and we'll see how well that works in execution. But you don't need to order anything because their plan here is to have this work with whatever you got. So even low-end, cheap Walmart tablets should be able to do something with this. But again, the latency will be better if you get that Stadia controller. Now, the cost on this, I think, is going to be something that may or may not work so well. The service itself is going to be free, but you have to buy the games to play with it. You're not going to get anything for free to play unless you buy a game. And if you are on the base service here, which is the free tier, you can only play those games at 1080p at 60 frames per second with stereo sound. Now, if you pay $10 a month, you can get the 4K resolution, 5.1 channel sound. You'll have a few free games that you can play on that service as well. But it looks like a lot of what's going to happen here with Stadia will be you buying the game and also paying for the streaming service. And this has been leaving some gamers with some doubts and skepticism as to whether or not this is actually going to work. And of course, given Google's propensity for killing projects after they start it, we'll have to see how this pans out. Microsoft also talked about their xCloud game streaming service that's going to debut in October. This will allow you to stream games from Microsoft servers, but also from your own Xbox if you prefer. So that's kind of a neat thing we'll take a look at when it's available. And my friend Epos Vox on Twitter had a very good little prediction here as to what will happen with Stadia over time. He sees that it will not be a big hit. It'll do its job. They'll have a small and dedicated user base, and then one day they'll get a notice that says the service is shutting down in 3 weeks and get your data off of here. And I think that might likely be what happens because that often happens with just about every Google product that doesn't become a rock star hit. So just be aware of that. You might have a great thing for a while, but it might go away. And I've been very concerned about what happens to all of your saved game data that will live in Stadia, because this is not going to be like your Steam account or your Epic Games account. It's going to be your Stadia account, and your games will be saved in their cloud. And I'm not sure how you might go about making those save games portable to another service. And hopefully they have some way to do that if you choose to leave or they choose to leave the business altogether. So we'll have to see what their plans are there. Now, I think that NVIDIA is really on the right track with their streaming service. Now, on the NVIDIA Shield, which came out way back when in 2015, they started with a game streaming service that involved you buying games from them, just like the Stadia model, and streaming them back to yourself. But they've been adjusting the business model over time. And where they are now is with a service that allows you to connect up to your existing game services that you're using, like Steam or the Epic Game Store, for example. So what I can do on the NVIDIA service is connect up to their cloud. I can play my Steam games that I already paid for, and my save games are synced up to the NVIDIA cloud server. So I was playing No Man's Sky, for example, on the cloud. I left the cloud and went back to my desktop computer, and everything was right where I left it. It really is pretty cool to have a streaming service that is detached from the purchasing of the games. I think Steam works very well, especially for syncing up save games between devices, and it's separate as a platform. So if the streaming service somehow went away one day, I'm not losing all of the time that I spent building up characters in games and all the other stuff that you might do in a game. So I think they're really onto something here. It's still in beta. Right now the service is free. I did a video on it that you can see linked here on screen. But ultimately, I think NVIDIA has learned what doesn't work in the streaming industry, and I think they're onto something that does. And I'm very eager to see if they plan to finally roll it out as a full-blown service soon, because I think people will get a lot more value out of a monthly subscription service if it worked with the games they already own.
This channel is brought to you by the Lon.TV supporters, including gold-level supporters, the Four Guys with Quarters podcast, Tom Albrecht, Brian Parker, and Kalyan Kumar. If you want to help the channel, you can by contributing as little as $1 a month. Head over to lon.tv/support to learn more. And don't forget to subscribe. Visit lon.tv/s.